As we all know, Frieza is an absolute menace. This guy destroys planets just to pass the time and have some fun. Frieza is the true embodiment of evil. But have you ever wondered what would happen if he actually succeeded in his ultimate goal? What if during Namek Saga, Frieza managed to obtain the 7 Dragon Balls? What if he succeeded in becoming immortal? What would happen to Goku and the others? Will he ultimately be hunted down by Beerus? If you think things are about to go down, well, you are not even half prepared for what's about to follow, as things will get very ugly, very fast. We are going to assume that the same rules apply for the Dragon Balls as the ones we had in the original story, which means that all wishes must be given in the Namekian language, otherwise Porunga will not grant them. You see, this was a major plot point in the actual story. As we saw, Frieza did get an opportunity to ask the Eternal Dragon to grant him eternal life. However, joke's on him, because Porunga does not accept requests in English or Japanese, or whichever dub you watched, but rather only accepts requests in his native language. You see, back then, Frieza had this moment with the dragon, but failed to get his wish. He was greatly enraged, and I mean really enraged. But let me remind you with a quick recap of what exactly happened during that time. The primary reason Frieza did not have his way is because he did not know about the language requirement. There was only one wish left, and he was also literally in the middle of his fight with Super Saiyan Goku when he saw the dragon. There was absolutely no way whatsoever that Frieza could have gotten his wish under those circumstances. He never had the time for trial and error while all these took place. At least, this was the case in the original story, but in this scenario, Vegeta is never allowed to break free after he gets captured by Zarbon. Vegeta is not able to flee with the 5 Dragon Balls Frieza already had, and that means it's only a matter of time before Frieza's underlings sniff out the 2 Dragon Balls held by Gohan and Krillin. Frieza now has all 7 Dragon Balls before Goku or even the Ginyu Force arrives on the planet. But what next? How is Frieza going to overcome the language barrier? Torturing them won't do him any good because only the Grand Elder Guru knows the game, and if he is not careful, he may end up killing the Guru, which would render the Dragon Balls useless. One wrong step, and Frieza would lose despite having all of the Dragon Balls. When you think about it this way, it becomes obvious that there is basically no threat whatsoever that either Vegeta or Frieza would be able to abuse the Dragon Balls for their own selfish pursuits. But for the purposes of this video, we will assume that Frieza somehow figures it out. Maybe someone tells him, maybe he finds a scroll somewhere, or, well, just like he found out about the Dragon Ball's existence, he also finds out about the language requirement. What then? Now, Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta stay in Frieza's captivity. Soon, the Ginyu Force arrives, and Frieza holds a casual meeting with them, announcing how he will use the Dragon Balls and accomplish his goals. Meanwhile, Bulma, who was by herself, is found by a Namekian and brought to the Elder Guru's place. She learns about what happened to Gohan and Krillin from them. At the same time, while she's in a conversation with the Elder breaks an interesting and overall positive, if you ask me, piece of news. He declares that someone has just arrived on the planet. Someone strong. Bulma rejoices because it's obviously Goku, right? It has to be him, and she is right. Goku has just arrived in Namek and is about to go wild. You see, Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta also sense his arrival, and at least 2 of them get visibly excited. Unfortunately, they are still under the impression that Goku is going to save the day like he always does. Frieza notices this sudden optimism and dispatches the Ginyu Force to capture whoever this new guy is supposed to be. Do you remember what happened when Goku faced the Ginyu Force in the original story? I mean, let's not forget that none of the Ginyu Force were any match for Goku back then. Similar to our version of the story, every single one of them suffers a brutal beatdown. This intrigues the Elder. I mean, think about it. He had no idea that someone this strong was going to be on their side. Bulma also breathes a sigh of relief. However, yeah, Goku took care of the Ginyu Force, but what about Frieza? What if he fails to defeat him? Is he really able to do that under these circumstances? And this is where the light bulb goes off in Bulma's head, and she proposes a somewhat risky, somewhat practical plan. What kind of plan? Well, when all the Frieza subordinates are defeated, Frieza will have to face Goku personally, right? She declares that this is when they should strike. They'd sneak up on Frieza's ship while he's busy with Goku, and just use the Dragon Balls to teleport all of them, including every Namekian, to planet Earth. The Grand Elder obviously agrees. He can tell that this may very well be the only way to ensure their survival. Now, as we know, the Elder is also the only one who knows the protocol on how to summon the dragon. We also know that the Elder did not have much time left. That's why he not only tells Bulma how she can summon the dragon, he also transfers the authority of the Dragon Balls to his successor, Mori. I guess doing so lifts a tremendous weight off his shoulders because he passes away right as he wishes them all good luck on their future. He passes away not out of stress like it was in the original story, but out of relief. Something in his heart told him that Bulma's plan will work, that Goku will somehow stall Frieza just enough that they can use the Dragon Balls to get everyone out of there. However, little did he know that the main character in this alternate version of Dragon Ball is Frieza and not Goku. You see, when the Ginyu Force and Zarbon are defeated, Frieza personally flies out to Goku's location. Who is this monkey that dares stand in his way, right? Meanwhile, Bulma, Dende, and Neil fly in secret to Frieza's ship and get started. Dende heals Gohan and Krillin. He does not heal Vegeta because, of course, he doesn't want to. This is not like the actual story where they need Vegeta's help. But again, Vegeta was in the recuperation chamber for a while now. He's pretty much healed, and he decides to break out because Frieza is away and the Dragon Balls are right within his grasp. Vegeta laughs maniacally as he violently pushes everyone away and reaches for the 7 Dragon Balls. He is convinced that luck is finally on his side. right. This right here is the perfect chance to finally attain immortality. Yes, he will have to force Bulma and the others to go along. Keep in mind that Vegeta was not yet a good guy, but he wasn't really all that strong either. Poor Vegeta. He thought that he was in charge now that Frieza was gone. But little did he know that not all Namekians are fodder. There's a reason why Bulma brought Neil with her. She brought Dende so that Gohan and Krillin can be healed, and she brought Neil so that Vegeta doesn't get any funny ideas. Exactly. And Neil is no slouch. He stands in front of Vegeta and signals the rest of them to get started on that wish. Unfortunately, right as the dragon is summoned, Frieza arrives. To give you a brief recap, Goku did absolutely beat the living hell out of Frieza's base form, but every time Frieza transformed and took it to the next level, Goku was more and more overwhelming. Thanks to stacking Kaioken, Goku manages to hurt Frieza's third or even his fourth transformation. But the moment Frieza enters his final transformation, it's over. Goku was shot through the chest, he falls on the ground, and succumbs to his wound. I mean, we have to assume that Frieza wins, right? Otherwise, this what-if scenario cannot exist. Of course, Frieza doesn't look twice and heads back to his ship. He is, although greatly amused when he sees what the gang was plotting in his absence. You can probably imagine the sadistic look on his face when he sees that the dragon has already been summoned. Of course, Bulma and the others are scared out of their minds as well. Bulma immediately yells at Dende to quickly use the first wish to get them all teleported to Earth along with the Namekian Dragon Balls. Dende starts speaking to the dragon in Namekian, but Frieza shoots him on the spot, and this ends his plans for good. Frieza now knows that you have more than one wish, and he also knows that all you need to know is the Namekian language to make the wish. Universe domination is now within his grasp. Frieza starts laughing menacingly, while Vegeta and Neil pause their fights. Gohan and Krillin are shielding Bulma with their bodies. Goku is defeated, Dende is dead. Is it over? Or can things get even worse? Oh, they definitely can. Frieza unleashes 5 death beams. Neil, Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma, all of them are instantly killed. They blinked and died, just like that. Frieza grins and flies off to the nearest Namekian village just to get someone vulnerable whom he can manipulate however he wants. A few minutes later, he returns with a couple of Namekian children. He has already destroyed their entire village. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Namekians would rather die than let Frieza abuse the Dragon Balls. But what if we're talking about weak and feeble-minded children who are forced to accept out of fear? Frieza summons the Death Ball and tells the 2 children that if they don't do what he says, he's gonna destroy their planet with this. The younger one starts crying, while the older one tells Frieza that they are not going to do what he wants no matter what. Oh, never mind. Frieza shoots him dead before he can even finish his sentence. He also blasts the planet with a Death Ball and declares that everyone is going to die within 5 minutes. Now what? The younger Namekian is terrified beyond comprehension. His brother was killed, and now his people will be erased from history in a matter of a few minutes? Frieza sees the terrified expression on the kid's face. He approaches him and smiles. He tells the little guy that he's changed his mind. If they work together, they can turn things around. But if they don't, everything will end within 5 minutes. The little guy nods, and upon Frieza's orders, he asks the Namekian dragon for 3 things: to return the planet back to its previous state, to bring his brother back to life, and to grant Frieza eternal life. All 3 wishes are granted, and with that, Frieza achieves eternal life. Now we are getting to the really exciting part of the video. Wait, I know what you're thinking. Why did the stupid little kid follow through with the 3rd wish? He could have just lied, right? Well, he did so because Frieza explicitly told the kid that unless he follows through with all of them, he would nuke the planet again. So what? Did the kid just decide to trust Frieza? Well, having no other option, yeah, he did. The thing about Namekians is that they do not have the concept of lies and deceit. The kid not only assumed that Frieza was not lying when he said he would leave them alone, but the kid also didn't realize that he could have just wished for something else. But can you really blame him? His village was destroyed, his brother was killed, and his planet was going to implode in a few minutes. No wonder he went through with Frieza's wish. Now, as the Dragon Balls scatter, Frieza's laughter echoes throughout the surroundings and beyond. He feels intoxicated as his blood rushes throughout his immortal body. The kid stands up to him and tells him that it's time for him to just leave their planet alone because he followed through with his end of the deal. Do you think that he does that? Nope. You can probably imagine his surprise when Frieza nukes the planet with a Death Ball anyway and kills the kid's brother in front of him once again, along with pretty much everyone else on the planet. He then approaches his ship to finally leave Namek. However, suddenly, he senses someone's presence behind him. Frieza turns around and realizes that it's Goku. How? How the hell is he still alive? And more importantly, how is he basically unharmed? Well, remember the actual story where Goku still had 3 sensu beans when he first arrived on Namek? Exactly. And when Frieza shot him dead, Goku wasn't actually dead, just merely unconscious. Luckily, the planetary shock from Frieza's Death Ball opened his eyes, and out of pure coincidence, he sees a sensu bean lying on the ground right before him. Goku has lost too much blood, but he crawls to the sensu bean, picks it up with his mouth, and swallows it. Goku regains his strength and rushes to Frieza. He is now way stronger than before because he just experienced a brutal near-death experience. The Saiyans call this ability Zenkai Boost. Heck, he may actually be stronger than how strong he was in the actual story when he first fought Frieza. Plus, when he sees the dead bodies of his friends, including his son Gohan, the switch goes off, and you better believe things are about to go down. Goku is enraged and devastated. There's a massive shock of lightning, and with all things considered, Goku transforms. He transforms into Frieza's worst nightmare, a Super Saiyan, and you can be damn sure Goku is unhinged. He spares no effort in beating the absolute living hell out of Frieza. But ultimately, the planet is destroyed first. Goku and anyone who is still alive just dies during the explosion. The Saiyan race as we know it comes to an end. There's no Trunks or Goten because neither of the two Saiyan boys ever get the chance to even be born. But Frieza lives, and he feels disgusted because it wasn't him who defeated Goku. No, it was the collateral damage from planet Namek's explosion that took Goku's life, and he feels especially disgusted at how if it wasn't for his immortal body, it would have been him who died in that fight. This was actually quite a humbling experience for him, as it reminds him that even though he's immortal, he's not actually the strongest in the universe. At that moment, Frieza recalls his father's words from when he was told that he must absolutely never mess with Lord Beerus or Majin Buu. Ironically, this inspires Frieza to train, and you bet he grows stronger. He also dispatches his family's forces to search the universe and let him know if there were any potential threats to his empire. Not because he's scared, but because he wants more challenges. Just 2 years later, he learns about Babidi's forces and their plans to revive Majin Buu. But guess what? Instead of destroying them all right then and there, which Frieza is definitely capable of now, considering how he's been training for the past 2 years, he decides to not only hear them out, but also join forces with them. He learns about the sacred world of the Kais, as well as the chaos Buu inflicted upon them 5 million years ago. Babidi and Frieza form an alliance to take down the Supreme Kai before he disrupts their plans for resurrecting Majin Buu. But why is Frieza giving them his time? It's only because he wanted to know what was going on. Once Babidi proposes a plan to take down the Supreme Kais, Frieza goes ahead and slaughters Babidi, Dabura, and the rest of their forces. He completely destroys everything about their organization and makes sure that Majin Buu stays sealed. Moving on, Frieza decides to take his father's life for, fun. Frieza completely takes over the family business, and for the next year, he continues his training. 1 year later, he launches an invasion of the sacred world of the Kais. Of course, Shin and Kabuto are strong, and they could have easily handled Frieza with no problem whatsoever. But as we mentioned, Frieza went through rigorous training these past few years. Having said that, his golden Frieza transformation doesn't happen until he reaches a boiling point during the fight. He needed a trigger for that, right? But once that happens, Frieza ultimately succeeds in killing the Supreme Kai. He's delighted at how strong he has become. But then again, the threat of Beerus the Destroyer is still on his mind. He knows Beerus is currently asleep, but what would happen when he wakes up? As he is thinking about all of this, Frieza is summoned by the Grand Priest. He is left completely speechless when he is told that Beerus is dead, and he is the one who took his life. How? Frieza is told that the lives of the Supreme Kai and the God of Destruction are connected. When one of them dies, they both die. Frieza also learns that there are actually 12 universes. Zeno is the king of the multiverse, and the Grand Priest is his attendant. He obviously gets a little pale when he realizes that he may be about to get charged for the crime of killing the Supreme Kai, and also the God of Destruction by extension. But the Grand Priest shocks him by offering him a position as the new destroyer of Universe 7. Without thinking, Frieza obviously accepts. Whis returns as Universe 7's angel, and you could probably imagine how awkward that must have been. But who is chosen as the new Supreme Kai? The old Kai, who has been stuck in the Z-Sword all this time, regains his position as the Supreme Kai, and is also broken out of the sword. Years turn into decades as Frieza continues to have his way everywhere. But hold on, because more exciting events are about to happen. One day, Granola uses the Dragon Balls to become the strongest in the universe in order to get revenge on what Frieza and the Saiyans had done to his people. But Frieza erases him out of existence. The Heaters, on the other hand, are Frieza's loyal dogs in this version of the story, which is why Elec never even considered using the Dragon Balls. Is this the end? Is this the fate of Universe 7? Well, not quite. Frieza has a dream where he sees a vision of the legendary Super Saiyan. It looks like he still has some PTSD, even after becoming the Destroyer, because he finds himself covered in sweat when he wakes up from his dream. Whis looks into it and realizes that there is still a Saiyan around in Universe 7. 2 of them, in fact. They are Broly and Paragus, and they live on a planet called Vampa. Frieza asks Whis to take him there. Paragus is obviously quite shocked at the sight of Frieza. He tries to think of something clever to say to Frieza, but Frieza just shoots him dead right then and there. But you know what? Broly was nearby, and he just saw his father die. He brims with rage and transforms into the legendary Super Saiyan. Now, this is the first time since Frieza's fight with Goku that he's been challenged to such an extent. Despite being a literal destroyer, he cannot match Broly's tenacity. Yes, he can finish it whenever he wants by using Hawkeye, but Frieza enjoys the challenge. The two of them fight for 3 days straight. When Broly passes out in space because of a severe lack of oxygen, Frieza tells Whis to heal the boy. And Whis is so thorough that even Broly's tail regenerates. The fight resumes, and one of Frieza's kicks sends Broly all the way to a distant planet. He gets up, and out of pure coincidence, Broly's eyes see a full moon. Yes, exactly! Broly transforms into the Golden Ape, and just like that, Broly's legendary Super Saiyan transformation evolves into the Super Saiyan 4! Frieza was not able to win against that version of Broly, but he swore on his life that he would return, and he would kill Broly, not as the destroyer of Universe 7, but as Emperor Frieza. In his mind, this will be his payback to the Saiyans for when he lost to Goku. Sure enough, Frieza trains under Whis and gains full mastery of Ultra Ego. He also ultimately unlocks the Black Frieza transformation. Eventually, round 2 happens, and as you would expect, Frieza wins. He kills him with his own own hands. And I guess that's it, isn't it? I mean, Frieza has achieved everything he ever wanted, right? Nope, it's not over yet. Even after achieving complete dominance over Universe 7, Frieza is not satisfied yet. He set his sights on dethroning Zeno and becoming the sole ruler of the entire multiverse. He states that no matter how many millions or billions of years it may take, he shall eventually, without question, achieve his goal. Frieza declares to his army that there shall only be one true emperor. To that end, he sets his sight on the Super Dragon Balls. He recalls how Granola was able to become the strongest thanks to Whis, and now he plans on doing the same. He seeks to use the Super Dragon Balls to become the single strongest individual in the entire multiverse. But yeah, unfortunately, the mortal level of Universe 7 reaches below 1, and Zeno casually erases it out of existence the same day as when Frieza makes this declaration to his forces. Moral of the story? Zeno is a menace, and you shouldn't challenge him. Check out this video, where we present 60 mind-blowing Dragon Ball references in other anime and forms of media worldwide. Go on, click it!